This tutorial is for 4th grade, Module 1, Lesson 15. In this lesson, we're going to use the standard algorithm to subtract larger numbers. My first problem is 42,561 minus 34,302. I'll start by subtracting in my ones column. I have 1 in my ones column. I'm supposed to subtract 2. In order to do that, I need to do some decomposing. That means I'm going to take a 10 from my tens column. That leaves 5 tens. And I'm going to decompose that 10 into 10 ones and combine it with the 1 that I originally had. That gives me 11 ones. Now I can take 11 ones minus 2 ones, which leaves me with 9 ones. In the next column, I have 5 tens minus 0 tens, which is 5 tens. Then I have 500 minus 300, which leaves 200. Next I have 2,000 and I need to subtract 4,000. I'll have to do some more decomposing. I'm going to take a group of 10,000 away from my 10,000s column, which leaves 3 groups of 10,000. When I combine the 10,000 with the 2,000 I originally had, that gives me 12,000. Now I can do the subtraction. 12,000 minus 4,000 is 8,000. And 30,000 minus 30,000 is 0, so we'll just leave that empty there. So my final answer is 8,259. Going across to the next problem, I have 1 in my ones column. I need to subtract 7. So again, we'll decompose by taking one group of 10 away. That leaves us with 5 groups of 10. The one group of 10 that I took, I'll decompose into 10 ones, combine it with the one that was already there, so now I have 11 ones. 11 minus 7 is 4. 5 groups of 10 minus 2 groups of 10 leaves 3 groups of 10. 500 minus 200 is 300. Now I have 2,000. I need to subtract 4,000. So again, I'll have to do some decomposing. I'll take a group of 10,000, which leaves one group of 10,000. Combine that with the 2 groups of 1,000 that were already there. I now have 12,000. 12,000 minus 4,000 is 8,000. 10,000 minus 10,000 is 0, so we'll just leave that empty. And the final answer here is 8,334. Now in the next problem I have 1,000 and I need to subtract 733, meaning I need to subtract some ones, some tens, and some hundreds. Well, we're going to decompose 1,000. 1,000 can be thought of as 9 hundreds, 90, and 10. So we're going to decompose that 1,000 into these 3 numbers, 9 hundreds, 90, and 10. So I'm going to cross off my 1,000 entirely. 900 is the same thing as 9 groups of 100, so we'll put a 9 there. 90 is the same thing as 9 groups of 10, and we'll put a 9 there. 10 is the same thing as 10 ones, so we'll put a 10 there. So now I can do my subtraction. 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 groups of 10 minus 3 groups of 10 is 6. 9 hundreds minus 7 hundreds is 200. So my final answer is 267. Let's do the same thing for problem F. Again, I'm starting off with 1,000. I need to subtract 9 hundreds, 5 tens, 2 ones. I'm going to use the same decomposition that I used for problem E. So I'm going to cross off the 1,000. I'm going to decompose it into 9 groups of 100, 9 groups of 10, and 10 ones. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 groups of 10 minus 5 groups of 10 is 4 groups of 10. And 900 minus 900 is 0, so we'll leave that empty. The final answer there is 48. Now let's use the standard algorithm and some tape diagrams to help us solve a couple of word problems. The first problem says David is flying from Hong Kong to Buenos Aires. The total flight distance is 11,472 miles. If the plane has 7,793 miles left to travel, how far has it already traveled? I'm going to start by writing an answer statement with a blank for my final answer. We'll say the plane has already traveled blank miles. Now I'm going to draw a tape diagram, and I'll start it by showing the total amount of the flight. So I'll call that total flight, and that amount is 11,472 miles. Now we don't know how far the plane has traveled, but we do know it has 7,793 miles left. That's pretty close to 8,000 miles out of the 11,000 miles, so it has a lot left. That means when I divide up my tape, I'm going to make a shorter piece and a bigger piece. Well, I don't know how far it has already traveled, so I'm going to put a question mark in that part of the tape and label it already traveled. I do know the portion that they have left, so I'll say left to travel. And that amount is 7,793 miles. So I know my total distance, I know part of it. In order to find the other part, I just need to subtract the two numbers. I have 11,472 miles, and from that I will subtract 7,793 miles. Starting in my ones column, I have 2 ones. I need to subtract 3 ones, so I'm going to decompose. I'll take a group of 10, that leaves 6 groups of 10. I'll decompose it into 10 ones, combine it with the 2 ones that were already there. That leaves me with 12 ones. 12 minus 3 is 9. Now I have 6 tens and I need to subtract 9 tens, so I'll do some more decomposing. I'll take a group of 100, that leaves me with 300s. I'll decompose that into 10 groups of 10, combine it with the 6 groups of 10 that were already there. That gives me 16 groups of 10. 16 minus 9 is 7. Now I have 3 groups of 100. I need to subtract 700. I'm going to take a group of 1000, which leaves 0 in my thousands place. I'll decompose that into 10 groups of 100. That leaves me with 13 groups of 100 minus 700, which is 600. Now I have 10,000 and I'm going to subtract 7,000. 10,000 minus 7,000 is 3,000. That means that the plane has already traveled 3,679 miles. Once it travels the rest of the amount, 7,793 miles, it will have reached the distance of 11,472 miles. My last problem says tank A holds 78,500 gallons of water. Tank B holds 95,867 gallons of water. How much less water does tank A hold than tank B? And once again, I'll start by writing an answer statement with a blank where my answer goes. We'll say tank A holds blank gallons of water less than tank B. Now to draw our tapes, I'm going to draw 2 separate tapes since we know how much each tank holds. So I'll draw a tape showing tank A first. And I'll label that as 78,500 gallons. And then tank B holds more than tank A, so we'll make that one bigger. And that one holds 95,867 gallons. What we need to find out is how much less tank A holds compared to tank B. So if I look at my two tapes. If they were to hold the same amount, they would take up the same amount of tape. But this portion right here is showing me how much less tank A holds in comparison to tank B. What I do know though is both of these pieces together would equal tank B. So in order to figure out my answer, I need to take the amount of tank B, subtract tank A, and that will give me the missing piece. So the total is 95,867 gallons. That's the total for tank B. I'll subtract tank A, which is 78,500 gallons. Starting in my ones column, 7 minus 0 is 7. 6 tenths minus 0 tenths is 6 tenths. 800 minus 500 is 300. Now I need to subtract 8,000 from 5,000, so we'll decompose. We'll take a group of 10,000, which leaves 8 groups of 10,000. We'll combine that 10,000 with the 5,000 I already have. That gives me 15,000. 15,000 minus 8,000 is 7,000. 80,000 minus 70,000 is 10,000. That means the missing piece is 17,367, and that tank A holds 17,367 gallons of water less than tank B.